Well, good morning, Anna. Thanks for tuning into the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television, your one-stop morning show for biggest news stories from India and around the globe. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor, and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Modi dismisses claims of lack of employment in the country, says issue is lack of data as there has been a vibrant growth in jobs, says BJP inherited an economy that was in doldrums. Independent asset management companies and steering committees to speed up the resolution of bad loans in the banking system. Government accepts Sunil Mehta's panel's Sashakt plan to address issues of NPAs. 250 Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims from Karnataka stranded in Nepal after heavy rains caused landslides on the route. Indian Embassy looking at alternative routes for evacuation. Rains lashed Delhi, 24 flights diverted. Heavy to very heavy rains forecast in large parts of the country this week. Indigenously built light combat aircraft Tejas commences operations 2 years after induction into the Indian Air Force. Tejas is the smallest and lightest multi-role supersonic fighter aircraft in its class. And Brazil qualify for the quarterfinals, ending Mexico's run at the FIFA World Cup, beating them 2-0. And in a stunning reversal, Belgium beat Japan 3-2 after being 2 goals down to make it to the last 8. Our top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has rejected the opposition's charge of lack of employment generation. In an interview to Rajya magazine, the Prime Minister said that there is lack of consistency in the political debate around job creation. He said that more than a lack of jobs, the issue today is lack of data on jobs. Citing the data provided by state governments, the Prime Minister asked if the states are creating good numbers of jobs, how can the centre create joblessness? He said that the country has seen a vibrant growth in jobs. He said that more than 41 lakh formal jobs were created from September 2017 to April 2018 based on EPFO payroll data. According to a study based on EPFO data, more than 70 lakh jobs were created in the formal sector last year. He said that informal sector constitutes around 80% of all jobs, and job creation in the formal sector can have a spin-off effect on job creation in the informal sector as well. Responding to a question on doubling farmers' income by 2022, the Prime Minister said that his government is following a four-pronged strategy which seeks to decrease input costs, ensure proper price for the produce, minimize harvest and post-harvest losses, and create more avenues for income generation. And in the interview, the Prime Minister also targeted the UPA over the country's economy. On being questioned why the government did not come up with a white paper on the state of the Indian economy in 2014, he said that the economy was in the doldrums when the BJP assumed power. He also said that since the government did not have complete details of the state of the economy, it was not possible to give out the details. The Prime Minister further said that the state of the economy was much worse than expected. Things were terrible and even budget figures were suspicious. He further said that the condition of the economy had worsened under an economist Prime Minister and a know-it-all finance minister. And Finance Minister Piyush Goyal has said that independent asset management companies and steering committees will be set up for the faster resolution of bad loans. The Finance Minister said this as the government accepted a 5-pronged plan of the panel headed by Punjab National Bank Chairman Sunil Mehta. The committee has recommended a 5-pronged strategy, Project Sashakt, to deal with the NPAs in the country's banking system. The strategy includes SME resolution approach, bank-led resolution approach, asset management companies or alternative investment fund-led resolution approach, National Company Law Tribunal or insolvency and bankruptcy code approach, and asset trading platform. The finance minister also said that the committee did not recommend setting up a bad bank to deal with the mounting NPAs in state-owned banks. The gross NPAs of public sector banks stood at 7.77 lakh crore rupees at the end of September last year.
9 गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल्स जिसके बेसिस पे ये तय किया गया है, वो 9 प्रिंसिपल्स हैं: ट्रांसपेरेंट मार्केट बेस्ड सोल्यूशन, फ्री फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंशन, leverage best in class skills from the market, focus on asset turnaround to ensure job protection and creation. ये ज़्यादा करके छोटे लोन एक ही बैंक के अंतर्गत होते हैं, तो बैंक 90 दिन के अंदर इसको रिजॉल्व करेगी, एक टेम्पलेट बना के जो बैंक का बोर्ड तय कर सकता है, और इसमें एक स्टीयरिंग कमेटी बनेगी जो वैलिडेट करेगी कि जो भी करना है वो एक टेम्पलेट के हिसाब से और एक प्रॉपर प्रोसेस के हिसाब से किया जाए.
On to some other news now. The Election Commission of India is organizing a 2-day national consultation on accessible elections beginning today in the national capital. The event is a part of Election Commission's mission, Leave One Voter Behind, with special focus on persons with disabilities. The event will be inaugurated by Chief Election Commissioner O.P. Rawat. A dedicated portal for Election Commission's Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation, or SVEEP initiative, will also be launched today during the inaugural session. And the event will be attended by chief electoral officers of all the states, civil society organizations, senior officials of several union ministries, and the national consultation meet is expected to evolve a policy on accessible elections that will help in making electoral processes more and more accessible in the coming elections. Meanwhile, the Law Commission will hold a 2-day consultation with major political parties in New Delhi this week on the possibility of holding Lok Sabha and Assembly elections simultaneously. Seeking to find a common ground on the issue, the Commission has written to the 7 recognized national and 59 state parties to participate in this meeting on 7th and 8th of July. The panel's previous attempt to seek the views of the political parties on the issue had evoked no response. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been pushing for one nation, one election. Seeking to give a shape to the concept, the Law Commission's internal working panel has recommended holding the Lok Sabha and the Assembly polls simultaneously, but in 2 phases beginning 2019. On to some other news. The Supreme Court has extended the deadline for the publication of the final draft of Assam's National Register of Citizens from 30th of June to July 30th. The deadline has been extended on the account of floods in 3 districts, the delay in mopping up operations in the database preparation. The Apex Court accepted the reasons given by the Centre and the NRC State Coordinator for extending the deadline. In the report, NRC State Councillor Pratik Harleja proposed to publish the complete draft on 30th of July this year and said that the deadline will be maintained under any circumstances. The Apex Court said that it will consider all the interlocutory applications and other related matters on 31st of July. The NRC is being prepared to identify illegal migrants in the state of Assam. The first draft was published on the intervening night of 31st of December and January 1st, where names of 1.9 crore people out of the 3.29 crore applicants were incorporated. And at least 250 pilgrims from Karnataka are stranded in Nepal's Simikot after heavy rains caused landslips along the route of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. The Indian Embassy in Kathmandu is monitoring the situation, and embassy's representatives in Nepal, Ganj and Simikot are personally in touch with all the stranded pilgrims. They are being extended all possible support for a stay and ensuring the availability of food and water. The embassy is also looking into various alternative routes for their evacuation. The evacuation, however, is not feasible as of now due to inclement weather. They are also looking into the possibility of a heli evacuation for critical cases. Let's get you some weather updates. Rains lashed several parts of Delhi on Monday evening. Humidity levels also escalated between 77% and 49%. While the day was sunny and sultry, the rains lashed a few areas at around 8 in the evening. The weatherman has predicted a partly cloudy sky for today with the possibility of rainfall in some areas towards the evening. A man was killed and a boy was injured when a portion of an under-construction building collapsed due to rains. As many as 24 Delhi-bound flights were also diverted to other destinations following the rainfall. Meanwhile, the Met Department has also predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall in large parts of India, including several places in Jammu and Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, Assam and Gujarat over the next few days till Friday. The warning comes after the weathermen said that last week that the monsoon had covered the entire country 17 days ahead of its normal onset date. This year, monsoon touched Kerala on 29th of May, which is 3 days ahead of its normal onset date of 1st of June. It battered the western coast in the first half of June. And with that, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back after the break. The Congress party has called a meeting of prominent leaders from Jammu and Kashmir in Srinagar to discuss the government formation in the state today. The meeting will be attended by 100 senior party leaders from all the regions of the state, including MLAs, former MLAs, MLCs and others, to chalk out a future roadmap. On Monday, the Congress party held a meeting of a policy planning group on Kashmir at the residence of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh in Delhi. And after the meeting, the party said that it wanted early elections in the state. Meanwhile, PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti has dismissed reports of a possible alliance with the Congress party to form the government in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. In a tweet, Mehbooba Mufti said that the speculations about a possible PDP-Congress alliance was a fabrication. Earlier, Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad had ruled out a possibility of any alliance with the PDP for government formation. More news from Jammu and Kashmir. Well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval are likely to visit Jammu and Kashmir for 2 days beginning Wednesday. A Home Ministry official said that the Home Minister will take stock of the security situation in the state, which is currently under Governor's rule. The Home Minister and the NSA will have meetings with Governor N.N. Vohra. Top officials of the administration and the security agencies are likely to meet. This is Home Minister Rajnath Singh's first visit to Jammu and Kashmir after the imposition of Governor's rule on 20th of June. Rajnath Singh will also visit the cave shrine of Amarnath during his 2-day visit. And India's indigenously built light combat aircraft Tejas began operations from the Sulur Air Force Station in Tamil Nadu on Monday. The smallest and the lightest multi-role supersonic fighter aircraft in its class was formally operationalized at a ceremony attended by Air Force Commander-in-Chief of the Southern Air Command RKS Bhaduria. The aircraft began operations 2 years after its induction into the Indian Air Force as part of the Flying Daggers of the 45 Squadron. Designed by the Aeronautical Development Agency and manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, the single-engine tailless aircraft would cater to the diverse needs of the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. The aircraft has a digital computer-based attack system and autopilot mode as well. It can fire air-to-air missiles, carry bombs and precision-guided ammunition as well. And with the deployment of Tejas, the Flying Daggers would take up a wartime role towards safeguarding national skies. On to some other news now. Former Chief of Naval Staff Admiral J.G. Nadkarni passed away at the Naval Hospital in Mumbai yesterday. He was 86 years of age. Nadkarni was the Navy Chief from December 1987 to November 1990. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the death of former Navy Chief, saying that he served the nation with utmost diligence and was passionate about maritime history. Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also condoled his demise. Let's now get you all the action from the Football World Cup in Russia. Brazil is through to the World Cup quarterfinals after seeing off Mexico 2-0 on Monday in the round of 16. It was Neymar who scored a goal and then assisted on another to lead Brazil to a 2-0 win in the round of 16 game at the Samara Arena, his team reaching the World Cup quarterfinals for the 7th consecutive time. While the opening period of the match was dominated by Mexico, thereafter, 5-time winners Brazil grew into what became a controlled performance. Brazilian number 10 Neymar played the role of hero with his side's opener on the 51st minute and then provided the assist for substitute Firmino to complete a second-half double that sank Mexico. However, the strike also took centre stage for his play-acting skills throughout the game. Now, the result means that Mexico are once again eliminated at the last 16 stage, as they have been at every World Cup since 1994. And in the second match, Belgium reached the World Cup quarterfinals as they came from behind and beat Japan to reach the quarterfinals. Belgium substitute Nasser Chadli scored in the dying seconds against Japan to snatch a 3-2 comeback on Monday and set up a clash with the 5-time champions Brazil. The Japanese went 2-0 up with goals by Genki Haraguchi and Tashaki Unoi early in the second half. 2 goals down with just 21 minutes remaining. Belgium then seemed out of the game, but they created history by becoming the first team to come back from 2 goals down to win a World Cup knockout match since 1970. Belgium got back into contention with the late goals by Jan Vertonghen and then substitute Fellaini. The winner was scored after substitute Chadli poked the ball home from Thomas Munier's cross at the 94th minute, which is the final minute of the stoppage time. All right, we have with us Jyoti Burette, a former national football player, joining us in the studio. Very good morning, Ms. Burette. Speaking about the Belgium versus Japan match, of course, what a turnaround. You know, it was another World Cup shock that we saw yesterday because Japan was racing to a 2-0 goal lead early in the second half, and then the introduction of substitutes actually shifting the momentum of the game into Belgium's favour.
Oh, what a fantastic game to watch last night. I think definitely the best game of the World Cup so far. Heartbreak for Japan because they really did play some great football. But Belgium, hats off to them, they showed great mental strength. And coming back from a 2-0 deficit and then winning it in normal time. I mean, it was a great performance by them and some magic substitutions there by the manager.
Absolutely. And with that, Belgium also became, you know, they created a bit of history because they became the first team to come from 2 goals down to win a World Cup knockout match since 1970, because that's when West Germany had beat England in the quarterfinals. And speaking about the Brazil versus Mexico match, of course, you know, it was a match where we saw that Mexico was playing well, especially in the first half, but they couldn't break down the Brazil defense. And then we saw those Neymar antics really, you know, they might be complaining about you know, Neymar's tactics and Brazil's slowing behavior as well. But the reality is that, you know, Mexico was simply beaten by a better team.
Definitely. I mean, Mexico started well. We have to give it to them there. They started well, they really attacked. But once Brazil got into their form and their flow, Mexico were really a beaten side. And it was a matter of time before Brazil were going to score, and it was a matter of time before Neymar was going to get his name on the score sheet.
Yes. And let's also speak about today's matches. Well, in the matches scheduled for the day today, Sweden and Switzerland will face each other in the penultimate game of the 2018 World Cup, last 16 today in the historic city of St. Petersburg at 7:30 p.m. India time. Well, Sweden emerged from the group stages with 6 points from a possible 9 to reach the knockout round, securing the top spot in Group F after beating Mexico 3-0 in the final game, and they will be looking to reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup for the first time since 1994, when they finished 3rd in the tournament. And then Switzerland has, you know, the team has finished as the runners-up in Group E, winning 1 and drawing 2 of their games. The side followed their impressive 1-all draw with Brazil and beating Serbia in a dramatic fashion. Switzerland's last appearance in the quarterfinals was way back in 1954 when they had hosted the tournament. And speaking about the second match that is due for the day today, well, we'll see a meeting between Colombia and England at the Spartak Stadium in Moscow today. That represents the last of the round 16 fixtures of the FIFA World Cup in Russia. The match takes place at 11:30 p.m. India time, with only one of the two can take the remaining quarter-final berth and keep their dreams alive of lifting the title aloft. Now, South American Yellow Power Colombia is hoping to repeat their achievement from the 2014 finals by reaching the last 8 for the second time. Colombia finished at the top of Group H, where they won 2 games and lost 1. James Rodriguez should be involved after a scan revealed that his muscle injury is not as serious as first feared. Now, speaking about England, well, England made a positive impression in the early stages of the tournament, and they're now looking to reach the quarterfinals for the first time since 2006. Victories over Tunisia and Panama booked England's place in the group stage, and mainly second-string side lost to an also weakened Belgium in the final group match. All right, let's get a reaction from Jyoti Burette. Ms. Burette, speaking about, of course, the England versus Belgium match. You know, it is, England versus Colombia match. You know, Colombia has never been able to beat the 3 Lions so far. Do you think today it could be something different that we'll see?
This World Cup is highly unpredictable, and going into today's game, I think England will be a bit wary because Colombia have shown sort of mixed form during this World Cup, and reaching this far, they're not going to back down. So, and a big thing for them is whether James Rodriguez is going to play or not. So that is a big factor in this game. But England, first real test for them in this World Cup.
And Colombians also need to look out for Harry Kane because he has performed very well in this tournament. So they have to look out for him as well. And speaking about Sweden versus Switzerland, you know, both the countries are viewing this game as an excellent opportunity to really reach the quarterfinals. They have interestingly faced each other on 27 occasions since, you know, they met for the very first time in an international fixture. And the honours that we have seen has been even. Both of them have won equal number of matches. So the match today could go both ways.
Could go either way. Very close head-to-head record. Switzerland always start a game slowly. And I think today that might cost them. So they can't afford to start this game slowly. They have to go in right from the start. Sweden, of course, coming off high after that win against Mexico. So it's going to be a close game. I think this one would go to extra time.
All right, you have to wait and see what happens in today's matches because so far we have seen a lot of upsets and, you know, there have been so many upsets that we can never predict which way the match is going to go. Thank you so much, Ms. Sabirat, for joining us this morning and sharing your views and perspective on yesterday's results as well as today's matches. Thank you. And well, with that, we come to the end of this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead.